Zero Trust Network Access, or ZTNA, is built on a single idea: never trust implicitly and always verify every access request. Unlike perimeter-based VPNs that grant broad network access, ZTNA provides granular, identity-based access to specific applications and resources. Core ZTNA components include strong identity controls, device posture checks, least privilege access, and microsegmentation to limit lateral movement. ZTNA relies on strong MFA and continuous authorization. Device checks and session validation occur before and during every session. Policies are dynamic and contextual, adapting access in real time based on identity, device state, location, and behavior. ZTNA can be deployed client-based, clientless, or as a cloud-delivered service. Each model has trade-offs for manageability and control. Comprehensive monitoring and centralized logging give visibility for threat detection, incident response, and compliance auditing. ZTNA reduces the attack surface, secures remote access, and helps organizations meet compliance goals while enabling modern work styles. Common challenges include legacy system compatibility, integration complexity, and ensuring a smooth user experience during transition. Adopt ZTNA in phases, define clear policies, pilot with key use cases, and continuously evaluate and refine access controls.
Welcome. Today we explore Zero Trust Network Access and the foundational default deny principle. Trust nothing, verify everything. Default deny flips the security model. Nothing is trusted by default. Every request must be verified before access is granted. Zero Trust enforces least privilege and microsegmentation. Users and devices get only the minimal access they need, and networks are segmented to limit lateral movement. Identity is the new perimeter. ZTNA centers on identity-first security. Strong authentication and continuous authorization determine each access decision. Device posture checks and endpoint hygiene are essential. Devices must meet security requirements before they're allowed to connect, and conditional access responds to changing posture. Policies define who, what, when, where, and how. Centralized policy management and enforcement points ensure consistent, auditable decisions across the environment. ZTNA can be deployed agent-based, agentless, or cloud-delivered. Each approach has trade-offs for visibility, control, and user experience. Operationalizing Zero Trust requires robust monitoring, centralized logging, and prepared incident response playbooks to quickly detect and contain threats.
Zero Trust Network Access shifts the security focus from networks to identities. Instead of trusting a location, we verify who or what is requesting access every time. In ZTNA, identity includes users, devices, and service identities. Each identity must be proven and treated as a unique security principle before access is granted. Context-aware access uses signals like location, time, behavior, and device state to inform access decisions. These signals help determine risk in real time. Strong identity proofing combines MFA, adaptive authentication, and risk-based checks. The goal is to make sure the claimed identity is real and authorized for the requested action. Device posture and endpoint telemetry provide essential context. OS version, patch state, antivirus status, and configuration all feed into the access decision. Zero Trust treats access as a session, not a one-time event. Continuous evaluation checks risk throughout the session and can reauthorize or limit access in real time. Policy enforcement applies least privilege principles based on identity and context. Dynamic policies ensure users get only the access they need, when they need it. ZTNA works best when integrated with IAM, SSO, and analytics. This integration provides visibility, simplifies access, and speeds incident response when anomalies appear. Zero Trust Network Access, or ZTNA, starts with the assumption that no user or device is inherently trusted. Every access request is evaluated based on identity, context, and policy before access is granted. Least privilege means giving users only the access they need to perform their job, nothing more. This reduces attack surface and limits damage if credentials are compromised. In practice, ZTNA enforces least privilege by granting per session, contextual access to specific applications rather than broad network access. Each session is scoped and timed to minimize exposure. Identity and access management is the backbone of ZTNA. Strong authentication, single sign-on, and dynamic authorization decisions ensure identities are validated before access is granted. Microsegmentation breaks the network into small zones so attackers can't move laterally. By isolating assets, you limit the blast radius and enforce least privilege between segments. Contextual and continuous authentication evaluates device health, location, and behavior before and during a session. Access can be adjusted or revoked dynamically based on ongoing risk signals. Policies define who can access what, when, and from which device. Effective policy creation ties identity, context, and application sensitivity together to enforce least privilege automatically. Start small, map assets, prioritize critical applications, pilot ZTNA for a subset of users, and integrate with existing IAM and network controls. Iterate policies and expand coverage as confidence grows. Continuous monitoring and auditing validate that least privilege is effective. Use telemetry, alerts, and periodic reviews to measure policy compliance and identify gaps for remediation. Zero Trust Network Access, or ZTNA, is a security model that assumes nothing inside or outside the network is trusted by default. Continuous verification keeps the trust assessment ongoing rather than one-time. ZTNA rests on three core principles: never trust by default, always verify each request, and enforce least privilege so users get only the access they need. Traditional authentication grants access once. Continuous verification re-authenticates and re-evaluates risk throughout a session, catching changes and threats that appear after initial login. Identity is the starting point. Strong authentication, adaptive MFA, and continuous validation of user and service identities ensure the right actor is requesting access. Device posture checks assess patch levels, configuration, endpoint protection, and other telemetry. If a device fails posture checks, access is reduced or blocked until remediation. Contextual signals like location, time, the application requested, and real-time risk telemetry all feed the continuous verification decision-making. Monitoring sessions in real time allows automatic, dynamic policy enforcement, throttling, re-authentication prompts, or session termination based on changing risk. Implementation steps include mapping access needs, deploying identity and device telemetry, integrating policy engines, and instrumenting real-time monitoring. Tooling spans identity providers, endpoint telemetry agents, policy decision points, and orchestration. Common challenges are legacy systems, privacy concerns, and change management. Measure success with KPIs like reduction in lateral movement, fewer breaches, mean time to detect and remediate, and calculated ROI from reduced incidents and improved productivity. Welcome. In this video we'll explore Zero Trust Network Access and how application-level segmentation reduces risk by controlling access to individual apps. You'll get a practical tour of principles, architecture, policies, and implementation steps. Zero Trust Network Access shifts trust from networks to identities and apps. Application segmentation isolates each app, ensuring users and devices only reach the exact services they need, no implicit network trust. ZTNA rests on three core principles: least privilege, grant only required access, continuous verification, recheck identity and posture continuously, and microsegmentation, enforce fine-grained boundaries between apps and services. Traditional segmentation groups by network zones or VLANs, often allowing lateral movement. Application segmentation isolates at the app layer. Policies follow user and app identity rather than IP ranges, limiting lateral attack paths. Key components include identity systems that authenticate users, a policy engine that decides access, an enforcement plane that enacts decisions, and connectors that integrate apps and resources. Together they form a policy-driven control loop. Policy workflows start with identity and context collection, proceed to a policy decision based on rules and posture, and end with enforcement that allows, denies, or brokers sessions. Logging and audit trails feed back into policy refinement. Effective ZTNA integrates identity providers for single sign-on, multi-factor authentication for stronger assurance, and device posture checks that verify patch level, OS, and configuration before granting access. Start with discovery to map apps and flows, classify assets by sensitivity, design least privilege policies, and roll out in phases, test, measure, and expand. Use pilot groups to validate assumptions before broad enforcement. Continuously monitor access logs, telemetry, and anomalies. Use analytics to validate segmentation effectiveness, detect policy drift, and trigger automated or manual remediation. Continuous validation keeps segmentation aligned with changing environments. Common challenges include incomplete discovery, overly broad policies, and operational complexity. Best practices: automate discovery, start small, codify policies, enforce telemetry-driven iterations, and maintain cross-team governance for sustainable segmentation. Application segmentation under Zero Trust reduces attack surface and improves control. Begin with discovery, apply least privilege policies, and iterate with continuous monitoring. If you're ready, pilot a small app group and measure results before scaling. Welcome. In this video we'll explore Zero Trust Network Access and the dark cloud, hidden infrastructure made of unmanaged, shadow IT, and legacy systems, and how to apply Zero Trust principles to mitigate the risks. Dark cloud refers to shadow IT, unmanaged assets, and legacy systems that operate outside formal inventory and governance. These hidden elements can be forgotten cloud instances, developer resources, IoT devices, or old virtual machines, all outside standard controls. Hidden infrastructure expands the attack surface, increases the chance of compromise, and enables lateral movement. Without visibility, attackers find weak entry points, pivot across networks, and exploit legacy services or forgotten credentials. Zero Trust is identity-centric: assume breach, verify every request, and enforce least privilege. Start from who is requesting access, what device they use, and apply continuous verification rather than implicit trust based on network location. Begin with discovery, agent-based scanning, API integration with cloud providers, network flow analysis, and CMDB reconciliation. Continuous asset inventory, including ephemeral cloud instances and developer environments, is the foundation to surface the dark cloud. Microsegmentation isolates resources and limits lateral movement. Use identity-aware policies, context-based access controls, and enforce least privilege segmentation so that even discovered dark cloud assets are contained and reachable only on a need-to-access basis. Visibility alone isn't enough. Implement behavior-based monitoring, CM/XDR analytics, and automated response playbooks that quarantine compromised assets, revoke access, and initiate forensics when dark cloud anomalies appear. Adopt a phased roadmap. Start with discovery and inventory, pilot Zero Trust controls on critical segments, expand microsegmentation and identity enforcement, integrate monitoring and automation, and iterate with continuous assessment and governance. Bringing Zero Trust network access to bear on hidden infrastructure reduces risk, shrinks the attack surface, and prevents lateral movement. With discovery, segmentation, identity-first access, and automated monitoring you can neutralize the dark cloud and keep your infrastructure resilient. Welcome. In this video we'll explore Zero Trust network access and the app-to-user connection model, focused on secure, least privilege access for individual applications. Zero Trust network access verifies every access request, assuming no implicit trust. The app-to-user model creates a direct, scoped connection from a specific app to an authenticated user, rather than granting broad network access. Unlike a VPN, which often provides wide network access, ZTNA limits connections to specific apps and enforces controls per session. That reduces attack surface and lateral movement risk. Strong identity is critical. App-to-user connections rely on identity and authentication, multi-factor authentication, contextual signals, and device posture checks. Combine who you are with the device state before permitting access. Policies evaluate identity, device posture, location, and risk signals at enforcement points. The policy engine makes an access decision in real time, allow, restrict, or deny, and applies controls specific to the app session. ZTNA applies microsegmentation and least privilege by limiting access to the smallest necessary scope, usually a single app. That means users only get the exact access they need for that application session. Session security includes end-to-end encryption for per-application tunnels and ephemeral credentials that expire after the session. These measures reduce credential theft impact and secure traffic at the app level. Comprehensive monitoring, logging, and telemetry capture session events, anomalies, and threat indicators for app-to-user connections. These signals feed detection engines, SIEMs, and automated responses to contain threats quickly. Deploying app-to-user ZTNA requires integration with existing IAM, device management, and identity sources. Expect challenges like app discovery, legacy protocols, and change management, but prioritizing critical apps and phased rollout eases adoption. In summary, ZTNA's app-to-user model narrows access, strengthens identity checks, enforces fine-grained policies, and hardens sessions with encryption and ephemeral credentials. Start by identifying critical apps, integrate with IAM, and iterate policies based on telemetry. Thanks for watching.